Thank you to the Wind Symphony. Welcome to Carmel High School's 2023 Veterans Day program. I'm Will Ronco. Please stand, if able, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing as the CHS ambassadors will now perform the national anthem. Thank you to the CHS ambassadors. Now for a brief history of Veterans Day. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of the year 1918, an armistice was signed between the Central and Entente powers, ending World War I. This became known as Armistice Day and celebrated veterans who fought in World War I. Armistice Day became a federal holiday in 1938, and in 1954 it was changed to Veterans Day, to celebrate veterans and their sacrifice from all of America's wars. Since 1776, over 41 million Americans have served in the armed forces, and currently there are 16.5 million veterans still alive today. November 11th commemorates their sacrifice and service. This year, the junior class was asked to write an essay on what makes America great and the strengths and attributes of our democracy. The winner of that contest is Darcy Moffett, who will now share her essay, What Makes America Great.
I was fortunate to travel to Europe this summer on a school trip, and I was told that the most impactful thing I'd see would be the cemetery for the American World War II veterans. While I was sure that the cemetery would be very moving, I had my doubts as to the enormity of its impact. We were going to be seeing castles and national monuments. I'd seen a cemetery before, so how could it compare? But it's one of those sites that you have to see in person to understand. Each tombstone is positioned with great care, and when you view the cemetery just right so that each row perfectly aligns, the tombstones seem to go on for miles. It left me with awe and gratitude, and to wonder why those men volunteered, knowing that one of those tombstones might be their own. Beyond their courage, kindness, and sacrificial nature, what drove our veterans to fight so generously for our country? You'll find that the answer lies in our democracy. From the very beginning of our nation, our soldiers fought to uphold the American dream. To downplay democracy's role in the founding of our nation would be to ignore the very reason for its creation. Our government was created with the intent of giving unseen freedoms to the people throughout our nation. Because of democracy, government participation is not limited to the elite. Instead, each citizen is able to choose who will represent them and who they identify with. We can even participate as little or as much as we want. Anyone can be a politician or an activist or even a sideliner. And no matter which we pick, we are given the opportunity to dive deeper for information about our passions. Things are not hidden, and our right to an understanding of the world around us is protected. Our democracy also gives us access to all that the world has to offer. As we explore new ideas, thoughts, and beliefs, we can choose which we accept. We have the freedom to do, learn, and think things that would otherwise be stifled without our democracy. But not only do we have the freedom of religion and to believe what we want, and the freedom of the press, which gives us insight into our government, but we have the freedom to say what we want about these things. The beauty of our democracy lets us not only enjoy these freedoms in the privacy of our own homes, but also in public throughout our nation. And this is where our democracy stands out. We can voice what we believe, and we may face opposition. But this is democracy at work as well. American democracy creates a complex and diverse country that thankfully is not guided by just one opinion. We can share our ideas, our hopes, and even our issues with our country. This attribute allows each citizen to be individualistic, but also to help us grow as a whole. As we freely voice our opinions, we can find the things we love and the things that need improvement, and ultimately this freedom motivates our progress. Through these great attributes of our democracy, our nation has the opportunity to become the best version of itself. While we share the joys of our democracy, we must acknowledge that not every place in the world is blessed with our same freedoms. There are people who have fought long and hard to ensure we can enjoy America's democracy. When our freedoms are threatened, our veterans selflessly answer the call to protect what makes our country so great. And whether or not we enjoy our democracy at all times, or agree with the government that our veterans fight for, we must acknowledge and appreciate the sacrifice that they have made, are making, and will make for us and future generations. They have the bravery to take on a vital role in the safety and freedom of each and every one of us, and without them, we may not be here today. Therefore, they deserve our utmost respect for their sacrifice. Thank you to our veterans.
Thank you, Darcy. Now the CHS ambassadors will sing God Bless America. Thank you to the ambassadors again. Now for some quick comments on Veterans Day. Throughout our nation's history, our military has protected and defended the rights of the American people. However, upon joining the military, these veterans forfeit a lot of those rights they fight for. They willingly give up time with their family and put their lives on the line to make sure that we stay safe. All of this is possible because of them. It's hard for people in my generation to imagine the strength it takes to make this commitment and to serve. And what we don't realize is that when many people join the military, they're our age, they're young, and they make, like the 18 to 24 bracket is the majority of the recruits, and they make up the vast majority of the casualties as well. These are people who put their lives on hold, who gave up, time with their family, time with their kids, and went to serve, leaving friends and family behind. And furthermore, we are all extremely grateful for these men and women, and it is our duty to ensure that they are taken care of and not forgotten. Also, as we remember and celebrate our veterans, we can't forget about the ones who never came back. Thank you for the time spent, the sacrifice, and we can't have any of this without you, and we all thank you for the freedom that you have given us and the rights that you have defended. So now introducing our veteran speaker today, Lieutenant Colonel Peter O'Hara. He entered active duty in the Army as a second lieutenant in 1978 after graduating from the ROTC program at Ohio University. He became a field artillery officer and was stationed in Germany and served in Honduras. During the Operation Desert Storm, Lieutenant Colonel O'Hara served as a Division Fire Support Officer and executed the largest artillery operation since World War II. He then worked at the Pentagon and as the Deputy Chief of Staff of Operations and Planning. His final duty was as Chief of Plans, Operations, and Training, and was responsible for training all National Guard and Reserve soldiers in Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. Lieutenant Colonel O'Hara retired from active service in 2000, and his decorations include the Army Staff Banner, or the Army Staff Badge, 2 overseas ribbons, the Army Commendation Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, and the Bronze Star. He then taught U.S. History, Psychology here at Carmel High School for over 21 years and was the head freshman football coach here and serves as the pastor of Hortonville United Methodist Church. Give it up for Lieutenant O'Hara. Or Lieutenant Colonel O'Hara.
Okay, before I get started here, I would be remiss. The Ohio State University.
Amen.
I want to thank Will Ellery for inviting me back and for spearheading the effort to put this program on for all of these years. Thanks to Mr. Ferris for allowing us to be here. And it is truly an honor to be here. It's an honor to be back in these halls. I roamed these halls for 21 years, and I miss it dearly. We, the people of the United States, have inherited the right to be free, the right of particular privileges and immunities, and the freedom of personal choice, action, and thought. For over 240 years, Americans have enjoyed a sense of rights and freedoms unequaled in any other part of the world. But the privileges we enjoy did not come without enormous sacrifice. American servicemen and women have been on the front lines, protecting our freedom and defending our unique way of life for all of these 247 years. From the shot heard around the world, through the Civil War, 2 world wars, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, Iraq, the War on Terror, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines have endured tremendous personal sacrifice to ensure our freedom. As we go to school, work, or play today, there are young men and women who have not had home-cooked meals in months. They're sweating in the desert, putting up with incredible heat, freezing in the dark, windswept nights. They've not had a hot shower, in days or weeks. They sleep in sleeping bag on a cot next to an infantry fighting vehicle, a howitzer, or a tank. They never get a day off. They face constant danger. Some may get wounded, some may die. They patrol the streets and cities. They climb mountains. They slosh through swamps. They trudge through the jungle. They guard the demilitarized zone in Korea and countless outposts throughout the world. They train at Grafenwehr, Hohenfels, the National Training Center. They sail the oceans and soar through the skies. They leave behind spouses and children and mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. They are American servicemen and women, and they serve proudly. So, after graduating from The Ohio State University, was commissioned to second lieutenant, and the plan was 4 years and out. I owed the Army 4 years, I had an Army ROTC 4-year college scholarship, so I'm going to do 4 years and out. Then one night I was in Grafenwehr, Germany. I was a battery commander, a captain. My firing battery was out in front of me, firing at various targets all night long. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was a cold winter night, really cold. I can't emphasize enough, it was really cold. And I'm sitting in my Jeep at the time, that's what we had, Jeeps. And I'm looking out at my firing battery at about 2 o'clock in the morning. My driver comes in and he gives me a cup of coffee to help keep me warm. And I think to myself, my friends back home, they don't get to do this. I was good at it. I liked it. And I stayed for 23 years. Fast forward a few years later, I'm sitting in a tent in the deserts in Saudi Arabia. I was in the 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red One. I was a division fire support coordinator. My job that day and for the next few weeks was to plan the largest artillery preparation since World War II. We had over 100 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The plan was to fire up the enemy, the Iraqis, and clear the way for the 1st Infantry Division to punch into Iraq on in to liberate Kuwait. I was proud of my time with the 1st Infantry Division and our motto, no mission too difficult, no sacrifice too great. But it's not about me. It's about the farmers who stood with Washington, those who crossed the Delaware that freezing Christmas night. It's about the soldiers who stood shoulder to shoulder at Gettysburg and Antietam, Shiloh and Fredericksburg. It's about those who served in the forgotten wars, the War of 1812, Spanish-American War, the Philippine War, the Indian Wars, the war with Mexico. It's about those who lie in Flanders Field from World War I. It's about the greatest American generation, my father, who was an artilleryman for 4 years during World War II. In combat for 4 years, I can't imagine that. It's about young men and women serving all over the world today. I'd like to share with you a poem from World War I about a cemetery in France. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies blow in Flanders Field. It takes great courage to stand up and risk your life for your country. It takes great courage to risk your life for our way of life. It takes a great commitment to endure the cold, rainy nights in the jungle, the burning sun of the desert. It takes a great heart to leave friends and family in the comforts of home for extended periods of time. It takes unquestioned loyalty to the American way of life and the American people to be willing to always stand up for your country. For millions of American veterans, it is a privilege to serve in the armed forces of the United States. Today, we take time to honor American veterans. On the anniversary of the end of World War I, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we celebrate American freedom and those who have served the United States of America. An anonymous soldier created a sign and he posted it on a tree stump on a base camp in Vietnam. And it said, "Freedom, for those who have fought for it, has a special meaning that the protected will never know." I pray that you will honor the sacrifices of those who have served you by respecting the freedoms you have been given. That you will defend and respect your liberty, justice, and freedoms, and remember that those ideals that we have fought to defend are for all Americans, regardless of their race, religion, or culture. I'm confident that the torch that I carried, the torch that our veterans have carried, the torch that has been carried since 1775 will be carried by you, and you will proudly hold it high, and you'll keep faith as the poppies blow in Flanders Field. I'm going to close today by sharing the last verse of a great American hymn. "Oh, thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may this heaven-rescued land praise the power that made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must when our cause is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." I thank you very much for your kind attention. Duty first.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Now, as the Wind Symphony plays the Armed Forces Salute, veterans, when you hear the anthem of your branch, please stand. Thank you to the Wind Symphony. Now as we leave here today, please think about if you know any veterans in your life and thank them for their service, whether it be a family member, somebody you know, or just a veteran you see out on the street. Make sure to thank them and just tell them how appreciative you are. And at this time, will juniors please leave and go back to your SRTs. Veterans, stay seated and we will escort you to catering.